by fall, does it not? I think the weather may be shifting on us here in the next day or two. If we get everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, remain standing for an invocation by Pastor Phil Hord from Union Bible College and Academy.
Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this city. Thank you for our mayor and our city council. Pray that you would just touch and help each one of them. Give us wisdom and guidance in this meeting. I pray that you would help our leaders to steward the resources, relationships of this community. And we'll give you praise for it all. We love you. Amen.
So President Tam is with us remotely, but I'm going to hand the reins over to Vice President, Mr. John Dart. Would you please take the meeting?
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it very much. Marla, I'd like to note the presence of a quorum, please.
Kurt Wanninger,
Here.
John Dart,
Here.
Joe Deppner,
Here.
Noah Herron,
Here.
Chad Huff,
Here.
Victor McCarty,
Here.
Patrick Tam. Patrick Tam, are you?
I'm here.
Thank you. We have.
Thank you.
We have a quorum.
All right. Thank you, Marla. Appreciate that very much. All right. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the August 25th meeting. I'm assuming that everybody's had a chance to go over those notes. So I want to, we actually have really kind of, I'm going to ask for approval for the August 25th meeting, and then we had a special meeting after that. So the approval of minutes, yeah, let's do two.
Okay.
So let's first approve the minutes from the August 25th meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 25th meeting.
Second. Marla, can we take a roll?
Yep. John Dart,
Yes.
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Marla. And then we had a special meeting on August 28th. If some of you recall, on the 25th, we didn't have the claims packet available on the agenda, so we wanted to give the council members an opportunity to review that claims packet, and we had a special meeting on the 28th. So I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the August 28th meeting.
Make a motion to approve the August 28th meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Counselor Waniger and a second by, was that Chad? Yep. Chad Huff. Marla?
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger,
Yes.
John Dart.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Marla. Next on the agenda is the approval of the claims dated September 8th of 2025. Any
Make-
questions, any questions by the counselors on the claims? How about a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the September 4th docket claims as posted.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Counselor Waniger and a second by Counselor Huff. Marla, let's take a roll call there.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger,
Yes.
John Dart,
Yes.
Joe Deppner.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, we don't have any changes to the agenda this evening, so we're going to move on to any residents who would like to address the council. Director Todd? No cards tonight? All right. All right, so we have a couple of special presentations tonight. The first one is going to be a proclamation where we are going to list September as National Service Dog Month, and we're going to have Mayor Willis provide us with a proclamation.
We've got a few special guests with us here as well. Bridget from the Mayor's Council on Disabilities, and we've got a few little canine here with this golden retriever is just dying for somebody to pet him. Look at him. He's like, come on, show me some love. Come on up here, guys. All right, let's get into this. So, whereas we believe in the joyful, transformative power of the human canine bond and exclusivity of all citizens, and whereas in the United States, 70 million adults have a disability and only 16,000 service dogs from accredited training programs exist nationwide, and the need is continuously growing. And whereas the city of Westfield has previously recognized its commitment to individuals living with disabilities by recognizing March 2025 as Disability Awareness Month. And whereas the city of Westfield has been striving towards more inclusive and supportive community with the institution of the Westfield Mayor's Council on Disabilities. And whereas the city of Westfield is continually striving to support systems, policies, and environments that improve the lives of all community members, including those who live with disabilities, as well as dismantle barriers that preclude those with disabilities from experiencing equitable experiences. And whereas the city of Westfield, Indiana continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens and their trained service dogs are welcome and embraced. And whereas National Service Dog Month aims to educate our community about the benefits of service dogs and the laws protecting their handlers. And now, therefore, in recognition of service dogs and the adults and children with disabilities in our community, I, Mayor Scott A. Willis, do hereby proclaim September as National Service Dog Month. In the city of Westfield, Indiana, encourage all citizens to celebrate service dogs and be respectful of the rights to safe access in our community afforded to the adults, children, and veterans who lead more independent lives because of their assistance. In witness hereof, whereof I, Scott Willis, have hereunto set my hand, you're on my shoe, bud, and caused to be affixed the great seal of the city of Westfield, Indiana, on the 8th day of September. I'm going to present this to Bridget, but we certainly want to give these pooches a chance. You got anything to say? No? Okay, he just wants to sniff it. Would you like to say a few words real quickly?
I'm Tom Sprecher. I'm one of the leaders of the Central Indiana Puppy Raising Chapter. And just want to thank Colleen for bringing this to your attention. Mayor, thank you for making this possible. We provide service dogs nationwide, free of charge to the people who get them. This is all done through volunteers and donations with Canine Companions. And we have been working very hard for September to just get as many proclamations as we can, and just very proud to call Westfield one of our partners.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You want to get a quick picture, as always? Yeah? Look good, guys. Come on.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that very much. All right, as we have in the last couple of council meetings, we've had each department come up and present what's going on within the departments. And this evening, we have Janelle Fairman, the Director of Economic Development, making a presentation on her department.
Thank you, counselors. I also have some representatives of Avison Young that are going to be joining me in a portion of the presentation here at the end to present some results of an economic impact, or really more of a market study that they performed for the city recently regarding the office market. I'm going to start our slideshow. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we've had quite a bit going on in economic development here over the last few months, and wanted to point out some highlights and some recognitions that we've had across the city. Here over the last few months, we've had a couple of exciting headquarters announcements. ECR, Ed Carpenter Racing, has announced that it will be locating its new headquarters in the Grand Park District, and Viken has they have announced that they're going to be locating their headquarters out in the North Point District, their industrial complex east of US 31. We also have had a few land acquisitions that have been in process. One is the acquisition of what we call the wood parcel at Grand Park. This is the northwest corner of 186th Street and Grand Park Boulevard. That piece of property was purchased by the Downtown Westfield CDC over the summer, giving the city control, city and city entities control of all of the Grand Park development that's included in the Grand Park Master Plan north of 186th Street. And we have also begun leasing a new temporary parking lot at the northeast corner of Park and Poplar. So for those of you who are familiar with the existing gravel lot at the southeast corner of Park and Poplar, that will be going away as the Park and Poplar development proceeds. And we are working with the Public Works Department to build a new temporary parking lot on the site of a vacant lot there. And then there are two homes that are going to be demolished by Public Works and replaced with gravel lots to provide that temporary parking that we need in our downtown area. We've celebrated the first groundbreaking of 2025 for a mixed-use development public-private partnership, the Ambrose on Main project with Rebar Development. We've also worked through approvals on a handful of mixed-use developments in downtown, Park and Poplar, the Jersey 32 project, and the Grand Millennium Center, as well as the Woodwind East project. This is the residential project located near the Woodwind Golf Course that will include the development of 3 new golf holes at the Woodwind Golf Club, or golf course. We've also finalized the Grand Park Master Plan that was introduced back in January to Council and then finalized in April. And we've been working towards completion of the comp plan with the Community Development Department and the downtown plan also with the Community Development Department. We've also been spending a lot of time as a team doing some public outreach and working on our marketing efforts. Just before the Live Golf Tournament, we launched a new website, which is located at www.westfieldecdev.com. This has been a joint effort between our department and the comms department. We engaged an outside agency, Golden Shovel, who really led us through a strategic process of understanding what our marketing strategy would be associated with this new website, creating more user-friendly tools for site selectors, highlights of our redevelopment projects, more data about our city, and all those things that make Westfield great and attractive for businesses to locate here. We also launched a Westfield Economic Development LinkedIn page. So we previously had a Facebook page that had been updated fairly frequently, but didn't really have a presence in LinkedIn, with LinkedIn being really a better platform for communicating with the business world. We felt like it was really important to create that presence, so that is just starting to ramp up now. Again, we're working together with the community, or with the communications department, to schedule our social media posts and put together regular content that will provide updates to not only the public, but also the development community to help them know what's happening here in Westfield and for opportunities for development. We've also had some media accolades. We were highlighted with the Site Selector magazine. They did a feature on the Grand Park area specifically. This was a really interesting opportunity to bring recognition about Westfield to Site Selector magazine. In my early conversations with their editor-in-chief, they were very familiar with all of the other Hamilton County cities, had never heard of Westfield, had never heard of Grand Park, so we're now on their radar and hope to have more features in the future. We also had a feature on WRTV about the Ambrose on Main groundbreaking, as well as the Make My Move program and Live Golf. Make My Move, for those of you who may have heard a little bit about it in the news or in some of our newsletters, is really about attracting young professionals to the city of Westfield if they're working from home. Actually, they don't need to be just young professionals, these are just professionals that will be relocating to Westfield. And it is specifically looking for people that are able to choose where they live. So this is not people who are locating in Westfield or Hamilton County for a job that's located here. This is a person that could work anywhere in the country. And we have some goals associated with that program that really include opportunities for those new residents to get engaged in our community. It is a set of incentives that get them connected, so they can choose from a few different tracks that might be family-friendly or business-friendly or entertainment-friendly. Some of the incentives that I'd like to highlight are a membership with the Westfield Chamber, an afternoon or evening at the Mayor's Suite at Colts Camp, and we've had memberships at some of the local vendors. Really a great opportunity to get people out into the community and starting to become members, or active members within the community. We also announced just last week our RFQ. This was a joint announcement with Gang Gang, who is our art advisor for the Underground Railroad art exhibit at the Jersey 32 project in downtown. That went live just before Labor Day and then was rolled out in media just after Labor Day. We are currently accepting qualifications from artists to do that installation, which will be an interactive light-based installation at that development. We've also participated in some small business support. Indigo, this is the mobile bus or the pop-up shop that you see in downtown just across from Union Square. This is in partnership with a group called Pattern and partially funded from a grant provided by MIBOR. And we have opportunities to bring small businesses into that bus through a lease that Pattern manages. And we hope to see a number of new vendors coming in throughout the year to create some new interest in downtown and give some other businesses an opportunity to start up. And then we've also, on the small business front, supported 4 creative economy business booths for the Westfield Chamber Showcased and Taste event later in September. One is Our Wing Creative. They do media and marketing materials. Waldy's Artesian Bakery, Indie Taco, and Jilly Jack Designs. So super excited to have some opportunities here to help get those early investors in small businesses. As I mentioned before, we hosted the Live Golf Championship in August. This was the individual championship for the Live Golf Series. My team was mostly able to get out there on site. I hope most of you were as well, with 60,000 visits to Chatham Hills. This was really a great opportunity to showcase the city. We hosted 4 Colts Camp Mayor Suites events. I also attended 2 additional Mayor Suites events to meet up with some specific individuals. Really great opportunity to be able, again, showcase our city and be able to talk in a more relaxed environment with developers, realtors, business owners, and other investors in the city. And then we've also been partnering with a group called Westfield Creative Collective. They are a portion of Noblesville Creates, which is the nonprofit organization that handles the arts for Hamilton County and really, I think, the entire northern Indianapolis area. Their executive director, Ailey McGill, is working in partnership with Westfield Creative Collective to help create this opportunity right here in Westfield for incubating small creative businesses. And that photo is, of course, Blue and my team out at Colts Camp. Few downtown highlights. This is a fairly recent photo looking out over the Union Square project. You can see the Grand Junction Plaza off to the left, as well as H Steakhouse at the upper left, and Sun King coming well along at the right side of the image. Looking forward to Sun King opening in, I think, in the March or April timeframe in 2026. Just a few other highlights here at the Union Square project. We've had a couple of ribbon cuttings. You can see Everbowl and also Pure Bar ribbon cuttings there in the lower right. Oh, the parking garage for Union Square should be opening later this month. Matt Deck and his team with the facilities group have been working diligently to get all of the signs in place and making sure that we're all set up for all of the parking controls and monitoring. This is a pretty recent view, just a couple weeks ago, of H Steakhouse coming along there at Mill Street and Jersey. This is a $5.5 million investment into a new steakhouse by Henry Najum. And then, of course, the Ambrose on Main project, which just had its groundbreaking in August. A few Grand Park updates. The Grand Park District North, so this is north of 186th Street. As you know, we previously had a bond approved for the purchase of land and garage development at the Grand Park North area. The first parking garage is going to be located where you can see it shown here in the master plan. The layout of it will not be as shown. That is a site that will be shared with the ECR headquarters. So that parking garage will be on the east side of that particular parcel, oriented 90 degrees from where it's shown there. Plans to be released hopefully here in the next couple of months. But it will be approximately a 500-space parking garage, and that will be paid for from those bond proceeds, which we are currently reviewing proposals for, I'm going to say the first phase of infrastructure for Grand Park North, which will include the municipal garage, relocation of the D1 championship field from this site down to its new location at 186th Street and Grand Park Boulevard, some modifications to the detention adjacent to the garage, and some updates to the streets and access around the garage parcel. Additionally, we were provided an opportunity to purchase a piece of land just off the screen here to the northwest of ProX, and the Downtown Westfield CDC has entered into a project agreement to purchase that parcel to provide some additional parking. So as you all know, the primary lot at Grand Park is located right here, Lot C, 900 plus parking spaces in those two lots. So as part of our master plan development, we'll be looking to relocate a number of those parking spaces. And we're estimating, even with the land purchase, that surface lot spaces up at 191st Street will cost in the $6,000 to $7,000 per space range, as compared to the $30,000 to $35,000 per space range for the structured parking that will go into the district. So this is a really good value for us. Just an overall highlight of everything that we have planned here in the Grand Park District, just as a reminder of our overall 150-acre plan. Again, this was released in its final form in April. We will be moving forward here over the next, I would say, we're in August, September. Next 4 months, we'll be working with Keystone Group on their development plan for everything north of 186th Street. You will see some changes coming that show some modifications to how individual blocks are being structured. However, the overall shape of the development will stay the same, with focus really being on that linear park that connects the event center down past 186th Street into the lake to the south. Additionally, we have been working on the southern portion of the Grand Park campus, and located right here is our site for the ice hockey facility being a minimum of 3 sheets of ice. We did shortlist 4 groups to continue through the proposal phase. Our shortlisted group is Louth Sports Facilities, Nicholas and Associates, and Carden Associates. Carden Associates has contacted us and notified us that they will not be proposing. They will not be submitting in the proposal phase. They're going to stay focused more on the development of the overall Grand Park South site, and have offered to provide some consulting services to the city in evaluating operational agreements or other services as might be necessary when we just need some experts on managing sports facilities, because I don't do that every day. We will also be working to close on all the land south of 186th Street in a October closing, and you'll be hearing later this evening the request to approve the bond to close on that land, which Dustin Meeks will be introducing for us. So with that, I am going to hand this over to Avison Young. I believe we have Anthony Ziccola and Grant Hayes both on the call, and maybe you can bring them back up on the screen so we can see them. And I'm going to have them present a market study that they just presented to me last week. We asked them to put together some data about market opportunities for office here in Westfield. My team has really realized that as we've had different professional services companies come to us, small businesses, we have no office space to offer, and we really need to have office space built so that we have a place for all these professional services companies, lawyers, engineers, architects, planners, financial advisors. They all need places to work, and we have a really good opportunity here in Westfield with our very educated residents to really develop that right here, and they've put together some great data to support that. So I'm going to turn this over to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone's time. I'm Grant Hayes, U.S. Client Data Solutions Lead. I'll let Anthony introduce himself. I'm in the D.C. area. All right.
Yeah, if I can get off mute, that'd be great. Hey, everyone. My name's Anthony Ziccola. I sit in Chicago, Illinois. I cover office for the Central Region and grew up in the Westfield Carmel area. So this is a personal project that hits close to home.
All right, let's dive in. And I guess as we're moving to the next slide, the report, if anybody reads it, there's a few different sections of it. If you're going to review the report, I would highly recommend reading through the Word document or the more narrative version. That gives a good overview of the study and also helps inform you of the data that you see within the actual slide deck. We found throughout all of our presentations, we can often overload people with too much data. So we'll try to keep it as simple as possible here. All right, so one of the major things that we wanted to do as part of this study is highlight the growth that is going on across the region, not just in Westfield, especially for individuals that may be reading this report from outside of the region and maybe want to learn more about the Indianapolis region. So if we go to our next slide, please. And we take a look at what population growth looks like in the Indianapolis region versus other select major U.S. markets. You can see it's really pulling its weight, outperforming markets like Seattle, Kansas City, Las Vegas, Denver, Boston, Salt Lake City, and not far behind from the DC region. So again, with an outsider's perspective, looking at this, you see, wow, this market is really growing. This presents a great opportunity for investment on future office development. So if we move to the next slide, please. This particular chart shows the percent change in white-collar job posting volume between over the last 12 months, essentially. And what this indicates is, and we often view job posting data as a forward-looking indicator of future economic growth within a market. If you think about a particular employer, in order to grow, they're going to have to hire more people. We're able to track those job postings and understand which groups are actually advertising for new position openings. And then we can measure that over time. So what this chart shows is just the percent change in white-collar job posting volume among major select U.S. markets. And you can see Indianapolis is ranking not far behind Atlanta and outpacing Philadelphia, San Francisco area, and Austin, which is a notable market that has been one of the top performing markets across the U.S. Y'all's region is outpacing that. So great chart, really helps kind of contextualize the market. Go over to the next slide, please. And now we're going to move into the office market. If anyone has not been following the office market has definitely faced its challenges over the last 5 years as demand for office space has begun to fluctuate. So as a result, we've seen construction activity drop to an all-time low. You can see that 2025 year to date is much lower than 1995. Historic lows right now, which creates a real need to have data to support any future office development. So that's what this report aims to do, of course. So if we move to the next slide, please. This particular chart is going to show you which office product is in demand. So on the y-axis or the x-axis right there, that's going to show you an office buildings availability rates by the year built. So essentially, how much office is available by the year the office developments have been built. So if you look at the 2010s on the far right side, that's office buildings that have been built after 2010. And you can see they have the lowest availability rate across all property, all other asset types. Across the U.S., we do studies for municipal clients all across the U.S. We recently performed a market study for a group, and we looked at office performance or the valuation of office and the change between 2019 and 2025. We saw office values for buildings built before the 1980s drop by almost 25%. But we also saw buildings built after that 2010s range actually see an increase in value. And that's because there's so little available. Tenants want to be in high quality office space and they want to have access to amenities, especially groups as they've begun to shrink their footprint because they don't necessarily need as much office space due to the digital environment and the hybrid workdays. So as a result, they were able to shrink their overall office footprint and move into these higher quality spaces. And that's really what's been going on across the entire US, and you're starting to see it through these availability rates. So if we move to the next slide, please. One more back. There we go. One more back, please. Sorry about that. There we go. This chart shows you where there are rent premiums based on what amenities are available within an office building. On the far right, private terraces are commanding the highest premium among office tenants. So this is really just indicating that the higher the premium, the more it's wanted by office users. So office users are really looking for access to outdoor space within private terraces as well as roof terraces. But they're also commanding and asking for conference centers, tall ceiling heights, which you typically only get within high quality trophy type assets. And then they're also seeking fitness centers, but most office buildings now have fitness centers, so there's not quite as much of a premium for those. But again, this just helps inform a developer on what might be in demand for an office building within y'all's region. So if we move to the next slide, please. Now this slide is going to show you total amount of office space available by market. This Hamilton and Southeast Boone counties are the market we examine, which that includes Westfield, Carmel, Fishers, Noblesville, as well as Zionsville. So you're seeing the availability rate for all of those markets right there in green. And now let's look above that and see the availability rates among Midwestern markets, as well as some prominent East Coast markets that have experienced a lot of growth in the last few years. Y'all have almost half the availability rate of other markets. That's a big deal. That just really indicates that there's a lot of office space in demand, and it shows that there's strong growth going on in your market. So we can move on to the next slide. And this slide, I think, is the most interesting. So that purple line, again, is just the overall availability rate for office space within these markets that we looked at, and I outlined it. You can see them at the bottom. But then if you look at that green line, as well as that blue line, those are those high quality office assets. There's no available office space for those assets. And then if you look at that Class A mixed use and compare that with the trophy mixed use as well, both of those are at all-time lows right now. There's very little office space available within these urban mixed use environments where an office tenant can walk out of the building, go to a restaurant and get lunch, maybe go to a few other amenities nearby, such as a coffee shop to have meetings and whatnot. So there's a ton of demand for this type of office space across y'all's market. And in fact, there's so much demand that there's no office space that's available to support that. Again, a really great indicator that office demand is really strong, particularly for office space that's in these mixed use environments. And we did a study last year that actually follows up with this a little bit, where we looked at the return to office among office users based on where the office building was located. And we actually saw that office tenants were more willing to go back to the office if it was in a mixed use environment versus being in a traditional CBD or out in the suburbs. So really interesting. So we can move to the next slide, please. And then what we wanted to do as part of examining Westfield and where it sits within the region is examine the availability of office workers. So What this looks at is the number of residents working in white collar occupations, so essentially occupations that will result in office demand or office tenancy. And this purple bar chart right here shows the number of residents working in management occupations within a 15-minute drive of downtown Westfield on the right, and then within a 15-minute drive downtown Indianapolis. Now you can see that a lot of decision makers are living right in the Westfield area. A great indicator for potential demand within your area. Oftentimes these decision makers are making the decisions, as I've noted, and they want to be close to their office. So that's a great sign to have them living nearby. But also, if you look at the blue and green, you'll see that the office workers that are working within white collar occupations within a 15-minute and 20-minute drive of downtown Westfield equally match downtown Indianapolis. So this just shows that y'all have the labor pool available to support future office demand, and it's also going to result in shorter commuter times for these individuals working in these occupations if they are to relocate and move their office tenancy to Westfield. We can move to the next slide. And then this chart shows, or this graph and chart showed the change in visitation to Salesforce Tower over the last 12 months. And we isolated the y'all's zip code at the top. It's outlined in white there. But there's been almost a 60% change in visitation to downtown Indianapolis from residents going from Westfield to downtown to go to work. So again, that just demonstrates that there's a ton of demand within y'all's market for office space, but these individuals are commuting a pretty long ways right now. So I would imagine having an office space closer and nearby would be welcomed by many. I know I get to see my 2-year-old at home at least 2 hours before and 2 hours after work if I'm able to work remote. So I'm always grateful for that. So these are real families, and there's a lot going on across the office market that's driving these changes. So I think it bodes well for Westfield. So if we move to the next slide. So looking at the macro, there's a ton of office demand. There's a ton of growth going on in the region. We wanted to take a quick step back to look at where the focus areas are for future office development and economic development within y'all's market. Walkability and quality of life are a prominent component of that goal. We want mixed-use developments, trail-oriented developments, as well as to develop commercial corridors in the CBD. So if we move to the next slide, we tried to take all of this into account when we started looking at where there might be potential opportunities for future office development within the short term and the long term. And what we did here is layered on where there are office types amenities within your market. Those dots that you see on the map indicate either restaurants or bars, groceries, coffee shops, as well as trail entrances and highlighted in pink, and then Grand Junction Plaza. So within that dotted circle, you can see that there are a ton of amenities within downtown Westfield. And a lot of these are going to be more boutique-y, more urban in nature, and more of those types of amenities that those office users are seeking. And then you can also see where the new library is. And you can see that there's a lot of momentum being generated around downtown Westfield. As a result, we think that there's a real short-term opportunity to develop office within that area of the market, wherever there is available space, because that's going to be a way to plug and play with an office user. They're going to be able to move to that office building, and they're going to have all of these amenities in place and available already. And that's what's going to help drive office demand within y'all's market in the short term. But as amenities begin to grow with the city, naturally with economic development, as well as with y'all's effort, we see that there's definitely potential in the future to start looking towards the Grand Park District and other areas of the market. But right now we're seeing downtown as the potential first opportunity. I think that's it. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Grant. Happy to answer any questions or have Grant or Anthony answer any questions you guys have.
One comment I want to make while you guys are formulating your questions. Two comments first off. First, when I ran for mayor, I said that we were going to use data to make decisions, and this is exactly what we're doing. And I will tell you, it's just not Janelle's group, although this particular example is a great example of how we're doing that. But all the departments are using tools like this to drive our decision making. So I just wanted you to be aware of that, want the residents to be aware of this. This is how we're making decisions, and this is a really, really good tool that, quite frankly, we were a little shocked when we saw this data as well. I'm not sure we would have been as aggressive, but after seeing this, we're like, hey, guys, we got to strike, and there's some real opportunities. And then lastly, to just continue to pile on from our meeting earlier today around mixed use. This ties in very well with what we're trying to do with mixed use. Mixed use development is absolutely key in driving these types of office users to our community. We look at Carmel, our sister to the south. When you compare the 31 corridor and their downtown district, Midtown has like zero capacity for office space right now. You cannot find office there. You go on the 31 corridor, I don't know recently what it was, but it was upwards of 30 or 40% vacancy right now.
I think it's higher than that.
You drive down, you see for lease signs everywhere. Mixed use is where it's at, and with that, especially in our downtown, which is what we're spending a lot of time focusing on right now, I think we can really attract some good opportunities to get businesses in Westville, which I know we all ran, we all ran on, and we all understand the importance of that. That's it.
Thank you.
Any questions from the councilors?
Is this report available? Can you send it to us?
Yes, I'll send this report, and there's actually an expanded report. This is, I think, 13 slides, and there's a 67-slide version with additional data. We just thought that was too much to go through here in detail, but happy to provide all of that to you.
Thanks.
Yeah, very informative. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you, Grant. Really appreciate it. Wonderful information.
Thank you guys so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the old business section of the agenda, which is to discuss Resolution 25-126, which is the fiscal plan for Ordinance 25-31, which will be coming up right after this.
Yes, sir.
Presenting this evening will be Ryan Collingwood.
Yep. Thank you, Vice President. Members of the council, good evening. For the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. This introduction, as Councilor Dart mentioned, this will also apply to this following line item. This introduction will. The item for you is a 100% voluntary annexation request for the land described in the 1303 East State Road 38 annexation. The corresponding zoning petition for the real estate called the Ivy Ridge Preserve Amendment to the Chatham Hills Planning and Development District was recently approved at the August 11th council meeting. The total compiled annexation area is about 11.9 acres in size. The parcels are generally located on the south side of State Road 38 and north of Chatham Ridge Court, seen in more detail on the provided location map exhibit on the screen. This item received a first reading and public hearing at the City Council's August 25th meeting. It is eligible for adoption consideration at tonight's meeting, where the item's resolution and fiscal plan have also been compiled. I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Questions by any of the councilors? If not, I'd like to have a motion to approve Resolution 25-126.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 25-126 for the fiscal plan for this ordinance.
Second. Okay, we have a motion to approve by Councilor Waniger and a second by Councilor McCarty.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waninger,
Yes.
John Dart,
Yes.
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, we're going to have Ryan come back up and just briefly restate Ordinance 25-31, which is the same annexation. So I don't think you have any additional information, correct?
I don't. Yep. Obviously, the resolution's
Yeah.
in coordination with this ordinance then.
Correct, and I would assume we don't have any questions by the councilors either. So, Marla?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance
yes.
25-31.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilor Herron and a second by Councilor Waniger.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger,
Yes.
John Dart,
Yes.
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Marla. Next on the agenda is ordinance 25-37, which discusses amending the fee schedule set forth in ordinance 24-74. And we have Danielle Carey-Tolan to present.
Yes, before you, Danielle Carey-Tolan on the fee ordinance updates. As noted before at the last council meeting, we've just made a few adjustments to our fee schedule. I haven't heard any comments back from you guys, but happy to address them if you have any tonight.
This was first presented on August 25th. So Danielle said she hadn't had any comments, any feedback since then. So I'd like to propose a motion to approve ordinance 25-37.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 25-37, 37 for the fee schedule amendment.
Second.
And just quickly, because we're dealing with fees, sorry, Patrick can't vote on this one.
Okay. We have a motion to approve by Counselor Wanninger and second by Counselor McCarty. Marla?
Kurt Wanninger,
Yes.
John Dart,
Yes.
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is ordinance 25-51, which is the Common Council of the City of Westfield in Indiana, authorizing the vacation of a public way or public place pursuant to Park Street and Maple Street. And Janelle will be presenting.
Thank you, Janelle Fairman, Director of Economic Development. This is a vacation of right-of-way at the very west end of Park Street in our downtown, just east of US 31. This is between a couple of different properties that are owned by Dan Moyer's company, DLM JG, or GJ. And the vacation of this right-of-way will allow for a larger parcel or group of parcels to be consolidated into a single development area that Dan Moyer would like to market as a single redevelopment site. This would be a great opportunity for commercial property, maybe a new office building. Maybe this is a great place to have new office downtown for anyone that's listening that might want to invest after that great presentation we just had. Maybe a hotel right there nearly at the corner of US 31 and State Road 32. Happy to answer any questions, but this is, it is just the very edge of downtown. I don't know that there's even a map in here.
And I would just add that there is no use
Just
for
the-
this with the city of Westfield, so there's no reason
Correct.
for us to hold on to it.
And I'll add that we do have to have a public hearing on it. We posted in the newspaper and sent out certified mail and everything.
So
to make
before
sure
we-
can hold that.
Before we get into the counselor comments, can we hold our public hearing?
Yes, yes,
Do that
just
first?
before you vote, as long as it's before you vote.
Yeah. So let's, at 7:48 PM, let's open this up for public hearing on ordinance 25-51. If there are no comments from the public, we are going to close the public hearing at 7:48 PM. And then I'd like to ask any council members if they have any questions before we vote. Okay, with that, I'd like to ask someone to make a motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 25-51 for the vacation of public right-of-way.
Second. All right, we have a motion to approve this by Counselor Wanninger and second by Counselor McCarty. Marla?
John Dart,
Yes.
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, next on the agenda is ordinance 25-52, approving a lease, pledging certain revenues of the city, approving obligations of the redevelopment authority, and several other things. And presenting tonight will be Dustin Meeks of Barnes and Thornsburg.
Good evening, Vice President Dart and council members. Dustin Meeks, Barnes and Thornburg, LLP. This was introduced at the council's last meeting and had a public hearing, so it is ready for action this evening. There has been a change between the first reading of this ordinance and what is presented this evening to increase the authorized maximum par amount of the bonds and bond anticipation notes authorized by the ordinance from $33,345,000 to $35 million. And that was just in response to an adjustment in the size of the property that is going to be acquired using the bonds. When it was surveyed, it was larger than anticipated. And so the price of that property increased slightly. And to ensure that there is adequate financing for taking out the bond anticipation notes when they are to be redeemed in a handful of years, we need to increase the par amount of the bond. So that's the only change. It doesn't change the maximum authorized annual lease rental. So sort of the amount of annual debt service that would be paid is not changing, just that maximum par amount, and really just to make sure that we have plenty of cushion to make sure that the takeout financing goes well.
And that updated par amount was updated in this ordinance?
Correct. Right. It's in the version that is in your packet. Right.
Okay. Questions from the councilors? If we have no questions, I'd like a motion on ordinance 25-52.
Motion to approve ordinance 25-52.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilor McCarty and a second by Councilor Herron. Marla?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't have my microphone on, so I'm just going to say it one more time. I did hear you, but Joe Deppner.
Yes.
Thank you. No Heron?
Yes.
Chad Huff?
Yes.
Victor McCarty?
Yes.
Patrick Tam?
Yes.
Kurt Waninger?
Yes.
John Dart?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, councilors.
Thank you, Dustin. Ordinance 25-55, the Common Council of the City of Westfield, amending the parking regulations of the City of Westfield. And before we get started, Patrick, there are fees associated with this ordinance as well, so you won't be able to vote on that, seeing that you're remote. And I'm going to turn it over to Danielle Carey-Tolan.
Yes, for the record, Danielle Carey-Tolan, and before you, I'm going to be talking about the parking ordinance, again, for adoption consideration. And just before I go into some comparisons, I do want to let you know that Denison Parking and Associates conducted a study for us back in April, and we got it in May. So this is a long-awaited needs assessment that we did in our downtown. They took about a month and assessed every parking spot. They sat in parking lots, watched traffic, days and nights, to come up with our solution that we have before you tonight. So just to give you a little bit of background of comparison of what other sister cities and cities around us are doing, Noblesville has a lot of variations that go on over there, from parking lots to streets and to garages. And you can see some of the comparisons here. They range from $2 per hour to free for the first 4 hours, free to $2 after that in some of their garages. One note that I would like to make is their on-street parking around their courthouse is 2 hours only. That doesn't mean that you can move after 2 hours to a new spot. It's still considered your 2 hours. So if you move to another location and you're still within your 2 hour time frame, you will get ticketed within that 2 hours. So that is something unique around there. You know, they have a lot more daytime traffic with the courthouse and the county building around there than what we do here. And they approximately have about 1,400 spots in their downtown area. Carmel, they have on-street parking for 0 to 3 hours. We do have actually one of our directors that have gotten a ticket on their after the 3 hours, but they don't really enforce whatsoever their on-street parking. They don't contract that out. They just kind of let people slide. They actually even let people park their other vehicles in garages overnight. They don't enforce any of that. But they have about 6,200 parking spots in their downtown area. Fishers, they don't have any major rates or hours. I don't think Carmel nor Fishers has done a study of downtown parking and what they have and what they're going to be doing. But they only charge at their event center right now, currently anywhere for what events they have, anywhere from $10 to $40 an hour or event. And then just give you some comparisons from what Denison works with Bloomington and Fort Wayne and Greenwood, just comparable what we're looking at doing as well. For you guys to understand what we're doing here for the garage is the first 3 hours for free, $2 for that first hour, and then $1 incremental after that. And those are going to be more enforced during the day hours into the evening, a little bit different than what Noblesville does. And that is because, again, Denison really looked at our parking and how people utilize our downtown, and it is different than what Noblesville and everybody else has. Then on-street parking would be 2 hours for free, and then the $2 for the first hour after that, and then $1 incrementally after that. Again, right now, we only have about 740 spots in downtown Westfield. So in comparable to the other sister cities, we're woefully behind in parking, as we all know, but we're gaining, and this will help control the parking and making sure that people move about our city more rapidly.
With the on-street parking, the first 2 hours free, do you still have to like put in your license? You still have to go through that whole stuff?
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that helps monitor for Denison who's there. Like if they don't register, because what they do is that they have a vehicle that kind of goes through and it kind of monitors every parking plate, and it will tell them if they have registered or not. So they know exactly how long they've been there.
So if I park there, I'm there 2 hours for free, I've registered my car, even though I haven't been charged for those first 2 hours.
Correct.
How will I get charged for that third hour if I decide to stay longer?
So they use Park Mobile. So Park Mobile is an online app, and it will notify you on your phone that within, say, 30 minutes, your time's almost up. Do you want to renew or not? So at that moment in time, you can renew, just like what in downtown Indianapolis.
So when you first park, though, you will need to give them your credit card information, even though you're not going to be charged?
Understand, with Park Mobile, I use it a lot, especially when I go downtown to Indy. Once you do it the first time, it will save your credit card information if you'd like it to, and it'll save your license information. So literally, you roll into a parking spot, it'll have a number, say 123. You'll just go into your search, 123, hit enter. It'll say Westfield, Indiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, all the cities that have it. That number, you hit Westfield, Indiana, and you're live. Everything's been saved. It takes literally 10 seconds to get your information logged after the first time. The first time there's a little bit of stuff you have to fill out, but once it's there, and you can even record. I have multiple credit cards in mine, one for city business, one for personal business. It's really, really user-friendly.
Also in the garage, you'll be using Honk as another system. So again, it's a very user-friendly mobile app system that they'll be using in garages as well. But they coincide with each other. You can use them interchangeably, from my understanding.
Danielle, if a resident or somebody visiting forgets to do it or doesn't understand it, what happens to them if they come by an hour later and their car hasn't been registered?
Yeah, what we'll be doing, especially for the first month, no ticketing will be happening really in the first month. It will be in all educational pamphlets will be put in people's windows about it happening soon. Again, if somebody after a year and it happens, they might just get a warning. I mean, it's going to take a big infraction for them to actually ticket you. Like you might have had a couple warnings already. And again, that's under Denison's discretion on those.
I guess the question, though, is if they don't register and they've been there for an hour, they're not in violation of anything.
They're not in violation.
So
they'll get a warning saying, and probably an educational.
A warning for what? What part of this ordinance does it violate?
Are you talking more about the appeal?
No, I'm
Okay.
just saying if you pulled up and you didn't enter anything into Park Mobile, and it's within the 2 hours, you haven't violated anything.
No.
Even though you're not registered?
You'd be unregistered.
You'd be
parking.
unregistered, so they wouldn't know how long you've been there.
And there's a
So they would
a
they
fine
could-
for unregistered parking?
No, there's not. But it's they wouldn't know how long you've been there.
I know they wouldn't. That's what I'm saying.
So what's the fine?
State.
Are you saying people trying to skip paying by just not registering?
We're not knowing, just not being
Well,
educated.
he's saying the ordinance doesn't have a fine for unregistered parking, so therefore you could not fine them.
Yeah, so more than likely Denison would probably mark the time of when they went by and said, okay.
Manually do it.
And manual
Yeah,
do
that's
it.
the old-fashioned way.
Right.
Yeah. Mark the tire or something.
Yeah, mark the tire, put a little puff mark on the tire.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
I was just,
Actually, it's probably much more sophisticated than that. Yeah, you can punch in.
Hi, Chris Larson, Director of Informatics for City of Westfield. So there are a series of cameras that are being used by this parking system. There's actually 4 cameras at each of the entrances that are checking license plates. And one of the signs that's supposed to go up in there is that you are not to back into spaces, because when you're sitting in the space, there's also a camera watching the space that checks the license plate. And so it can timestamp when a license plate enters and exits and how long it's been there. So I don't know that we have a fee structure set up for that, if they've crossed that limit or that time, but Denison would be can be notified if a license plate has remained in a space for X period of time. And so there are ways to access that information and potentially fee that.
that's for the garages though, right?
That's in the garage, yeah. The on-street parking, obviously, we don't have cameras there, so that would have to be monitored by Denison, which is, I believe, part of the agreement that they're going to be doing that, so.
Is there a fine for backing in? Because I back in every time.
We're
Harsh
just going to tow
stairs.
your vehicle, Kurt.
In this ordinance, will they be allowed to put up like outside cameras too, like on the streets as well, if they want to?
If we want to, yes, but
If
I
they
think.
want to?
Yeah, if we want to use that, but again, I think Denison's, like, their mobile machine that they go about monitoring, it has like this camera reading that can read your plates and they can mark it.
And I just think it's important to say this. The city's goal is not to run up parking fees on our residents and our visitors. We have to have some level of accountability because, for example, Carmel is experiencing a problem right now where they started out very lenient and they have people using parking garages for long-term parking. Well, when you have 6,200 parking spots, it can probably get away with it. But when you have as few parking spots as we're building, at least right now in Westfield, it can be very detrimental to our businesses. Our businesses need people coming, visiting 2 or 3 hours, and moving on, so additional visitors can come into the downtown area, park, and take part of their business. So we're not going to be punitive in enforcing of this, but we have to have some basic rules to keep the parking spots moving. That's why we're trying to leave an ample amount of time and hope that you can come into downtown, grab a bite to eat, and get out without having to worry about ever paying a fee. 3 hours is a long time. It's a long time to shop. Well, my wife shops longer than 3 hours, so maybe it's not. But it is pretty liberal for shopping and definitely for sitting down and having a bite to eat. So, I hope people understand we're not going to be out there like a hawk puffing your tires and looking for ways to give you a ticket. That's not our goal. Our goal is just to create a standardization to keep people coming and flowing through our downtown area in a way that optimizes our what parking assets we've invested in.
What was the thinking between 3 hours and 4 hours? Because I know there's been some discussion on 4 hours as well. Because like you said, if you do want to go shopping, maybe go to a couple stores and then to dinner, you might get close to that. So what was the thinking behind saying 3 versus 4?
Actually, Denison suggested 2 hours across the entire board.
I'm sure they would want 1 hour too if you offered it to them.
Well, no, just based on the study, right, that they did, just because of making sure that we can collect the fees for maintenance of the garage later. It's going to go into an escrow, right, and to help break even more than having a cost associated with it. So that's when we looked, and there was a clause with the parking garage to make sure that it was 3 hours and not 2.
The other part of that too is, they looked at the uses in our downtown area. Right now, to stay downtown for 3 hours unless it's a special event would be a really long time. As downtown develops, we may have to revisit this. If we start getting a lot of shopping opportunities, that's an opportunity for us to revisit how we're doing this. But I think for today and into the immediate future, this is a very liberal policy to ensure people can get in, eat, and get out without having to pay a fee.
I was going to say, I respectfully disagree that 3 hours is enough, and I'll get in a second, but I did like the point that it can be revisited. Because if we're trying to build a destination place to go, such as downtown, which I think is what we're attempting to do here, if you have a bite to eat and then go at H Steakhouse and then go to Sun King or then hit up some shops, you could easily pass 3 hours. We have a lot of city funds wrapped up in these garages. I don't think it's new for me to say that I think it should be more than 3 hours. I've said it many times, so I just wanted to state that.
So while I can't vote on this, I think people have to realize that we added more parking spaces here in the last year and a half. If you go to initially those parking spaces at 4 o'clock before dinner, all those parking spaces before we added the gravel lot respectfully were overwhelmingly taken. So if you do not have a time limit, to be frank, your staff and others will be utilizing these spaces as they have before. And those spaces will not be available for customers. We have a limited number of parking spaces. If you don't turn over parking spaces, or if you allow, frankly, hardworking people, staff to park in there, and you're not enforcing, your parking garages will be full. And we've had that experience within the last year and a half, particularly before we added that gravel parking lot. So I just would encourage you to take a look at it. This issue happens particularly for the service industry throughout all the state of Indiana and beyond. The need for parking for customers, the need for parking for staff, and people working as well. So you have to have find a balance. And frankly, 3 hours and 4 hours, don't disagree with earlier comments, but do want to make sure that people understand that if it's unchecked, you will have parking spaces will be full.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that we not have a time limit. I just think 3 is too short. I think Noblesville having 4 is more along the lines. I mean, you have to consider if you got downtown at 6 to eat and there was an hour wait to get into a restaurant. I mean, 3 hours can be eaten up pretty quickly.
So
Absolutely.
If I could add a little bit more context on the 3 versus 4 hours of parking in the parking garages, there were a couple of factors that were considered in that decision that were beyond some of the ideas that we've talked about so far. One is that there is a practice that I've seen happen. I've worked in a couple of different downtown, well, really a few different downtown areas across different jobs that I've had in my career, including Chicago and Indianapolis. And when you have 4 hours free, what people do is park, or very, very cheap, they'll park for 4 hours and then they'll move their car at lunch and they'll come back and they'll park again, sometimes in exactly the same parking space. And you're not necessarily getting that turnover for the people that are utilizing the businesses. You just have the workers that are parking there all day, every day. What you really want to be encouraging is those people that are parking longer are taking advantage of parking that is a bit further away. So we're making it a shorter amount of parking to park on the street because that's the most convenient. The convenient parking, we want to have turnover quickly so that people can get in and out of stores. Then the next most convenient is to park in the parking garage. It's maybe a block from where you want to be, it's covered, but people aren't used to parking in parking garages yet. So we give them an extra hour so they can park in a parking garage. If someone's going to stay for 4 hours, or if they just don't want to deal with the app, they can walk 1 block farther and they can park in a free lot. There's no app, there's no maximum parking time, there are no fees, and it gets them in the practice of walking through a district, which is really the practice that we're trying to encourage in a downtown. We want people to park and walk. So we're rewarding the people that want to park for free because they're willing to walk a little bit further. We're rewarding the people that want to be on the street because they have a street space available, and we're kind of meeting in the middle on the 3-hour parking in the garages. I want to add too that the parking garage at Union is not oversized. It is going to be very challenging to keep the businesses and residents able to park in the parking spaces that they're paying for on a monthly basis, and they are living there and working there. It is not large enough to handle its own parking for its businesses, its residents, and the larger community, it cannot handle Park Street. We need people who are going to Park Street to have other options and be incentivized to park further away from Union Square so that residents can go home, unload their groceries, walk in their house at night and not have to walk 3 blocks to get to their car in the morning. So just some context there on why that decision of 3 or 4 hours was made on this garage.
Thank you. That was well said.
Go ahead, Chad.
Danielle, have we discussed with any of the business owners down there yet of preferred employee parking yet? Of like where we would like them to be parking?
No, once this happens, then we'll have a business meeting with all the business, and obviously it is going to be in the free parking zones, just like what we did prior to when we did valet. We would sit down with all of them, tell them where we would advise their employees to park. Now again, if they choose to park on street or in the garage, they will have to pay.
Yeah.
As part of our contract with Dennison, it'd be interesting to understand what type of analytics they can provide to us at the end of each year for not only the street parking, but the garage parking.
They will do monthly.
Okay, because I think to Mayor Willis's point is if we go with the proposed ordinance that you have, we can analyze this on a monthly or annual basis to say, here's what's working, here's what's not working, here's what we need to adjust and modify.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
We did that with ballet quite often. I would review it almost every 3 months with them, and we would reduce people, we would reduce times, all throughout.
One other thing I want to add, just because I saw it out in the social media sphere, and I saw it enough to make it a point to say something tonight. I hear the argument, well, why is the taxpayer who funded the garage having to pay a fee for the garage? And I get that. I sympathize with that. But one thing that our sister cities are not doing, they've not done engineering studies on the long-term maintenance of those garages, and they have, as far as I know from the mayors I've talked to, they have no strategy right now of how they're going to maintain those garages. Those are concrete structures, and the chickens will come home to roost one day, and it will be a very, very expensive maintenance program long-term for the taxpayers of Westfield to maintain that. Our vision is every dollar collected in parking fees goes into a fund to start to seed that. We are going to conduct an engineering study of our parking garages as they come online to determine what is the long-term maintenance cost of those garages and how should we be saving taxpayer dollars so that 30, 40 years from now, the mayor of Westfield gets stuck with a $40 million bill that he can't or she can't fund. So we're going to be very thoughtful on this, but going back to that, who's paying the maintenance costs of that garage? If we don't collect any parking fees, 100% of the maintenance of the garages will always be borne on the shoulders of our residents. If we collect a parking fee, it will be a combination of residents who take advantage of our parking garages, but also visitors. And I hope we'll have lots of visitors coming into our downtown area and experiencing what we can offer. They will also be seeding that fund to keep up on the long-term maintenance of our garage, which is just a smart thing to do. We certainly don't expect to get rich off of this strategy, but every little bit helps. And I just think it's smart that we're creating a public use asset that we have to eventually maintain and pay for, and having a strategy on how that's going to work is the right thing to do.
And Mayor, just a question on that. I was not a part of the approval for Union, so I don't know about that one necessarily, but Park and Poplar and then Jersey 32, we are not going to own those 2 garages, and the maintenance has been put back on those developers for those 2 garages, right?
That is correct, but I'm here to tell you that there are, wait, I may be incorrect. Go ahead, Janelle, jump in there real quick. Okay. We're going to have, and you'll see this when we unveil the new vision for downtown, there will be at least one, maybe multiple city-owned parking garages that we build purely as a structure to park downtown areas. What we don't want to do is have every development that happens in downtown that we have to pay for a parking structure because it's very expensive. So we have strategically located spots where the city's going to own it, we're going to operate it, and it's going to be ours to figure out long term. And all these dollars collected will be used to help maintain those structures.
Okay. I have a couple more questions on this ordinance and its language. Section 7, let me make sure I'm right on that. Section 7, number 3, F3, talks about someone with a $5,000 bond. What are we talking about here? I didn't really understand it. I was just hoping for some clarification.
Yeah, I think it's talking about the, like the special police that we've been talking about, the parking control officers, I would assume. I'd have to read through
Yeah,
parts before it.
if you refer to point 2, it talks about the special police.
Yes.
That shall have the power and authority to prepare, sign, and deliver or post notices. And it sounds like, point number 3 then is, every such person shall furnish a bond in the penal sum of $5,000.
That's correct. They would be appointed through the Board of Public Works and Safety, the people that would actually be doing the ticketing and enforcing. And that kind of would come along in the next few months as we kind of dug into how it's all going to be
A
set
non-sworn
up.
police officer that is appointed by the city's got to post that.
And that, yes, that would be, someone by statute that goes in front of the Board of Public Works and Safety and is sworn in and has the bond and
That makes
those
sense.
conditions.
That makes sense. So the fees, I'm struggling to understand the numbers from this entire document. And so this is going to get complicated, but Section 1 says it's $10 within 72 hours or becomes $20 and payable within 14 days. But then if you go down to Exhibit A, it says it's $20 if paid within 7 days, but then it also says it could be $35. I know that's a lot, but I've looked at it like 10 times, and the numbers are just everywhere. And if I can't understand it, I think some of my other counselors can't understand it. I don't know how we expect a citizen to understand what they're supposed to pay. And we can walk through it.
Yeah.
So if you go to Section 1,
Oh, this is really squeaky. I need WD-40. Very loud, very loud.
so right there is in accordance with Schedule 6, VI 6, and the amount of $10 if paid within 72 hours as of date of issue is $20 thereafter. So it's either $10 or $20 is the way I understand it.
And I think that's if there's nothing else. So this would be kind of regarding the whole chapter of parking in general. So this says if there's not a fine set forth in that other schedule, then it's 10 and 20. Correct.
Okay. And then if we scroll down to Exhibit A,
Okay, I'm not gonna scroll. I need a new wheel.
at the very top, it says A right there. It should be $20 if paid within 7 days. So it's changed it from 7 days to 14 days. It's changed it from $10 to $20. And then if you scroll down to B, scroll up a little bit, there's $35.
Would it be the 10, I don't know how she worked on it.
I'd be happy to get with
Yeah.
outside counsel that prepared this and get through it. I didn't,
Well, let me
to be honest,
make it
dig into
a little bit more
prices.
complicated. Let's go to 8C, Section
Right.
8C.
Yeah, what?
On Section 8, scroll up just a little bit. It says each violator of the 2-hour parking restrictions.
It's 2 hour.
And provisions of Schedule 4.
Okay.
And then go to Section 8C.
Wait, okay, hold on a second.
Rewind.
What did we have that was 2-hour parking, I guess? That's my question.
On street.
Okay.
Because like 1 through 5 there is just saying if you don't pay it within
Pay.
7 days.
Yeah, if you don't
extended
pay it.
days, that's what those fees are.
Correct.
I think that was one of your questions at least. So if you pay within 7 days, it's $20. Anything from 8 to 14, it's 30. 15 days to 21 is 50. It just keeps going up in value because you're refusing to pay your fee. That makes sense?
Well, what you said makes sense, but I don't think the numbers make sense. That's
Well,
what I'm saying.
just showing you what I'm reading.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, what you're saying makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's a point in here, if you go to 8, section 8D, and maybe this is a misprint or I don't understand it, it says, "A delinquent fine shall be imposed for any citation for the violation that is not paid or denied within 30 days of the date of the citation. A denial may be filed within 30 days of the date." And it says, "A timely denial of the violation shall preserve the status quo amount of any fine." An example is, if a violator files an appeal on the 6th day from the date of the notice of violation, then the fine after an unsuccessful denial shall be $25. There is no fine for $25. The fine is $20.
Where are you at? I don't know.
Section 8, letter D.
Oh, 8.
So if you were fined for parking, it goes from $10 to $20. The fee is $20, correct?
Yeah, it says 25.
And then it says, however, if the violator files an appeal on the 6th day from the date of the notice of the violation, then the fine after an unsuccessful denial shall be $25. I didn't see anything in the fee schedule or for $25 anywhere.
I didn't either. And then if you look at C, it says no fine, the judgment not less than 25. Well, there's already stuff up there that's 10 and 20.
Is there urgency on this, or can we table it and then send you?
Yeah, I would have
the
loved to have these
changes?
questions prior to
So I'll add
walking quickly on my
something.
feet.
Fair enough.
In some of it, I would have to go back and check. A lot of this code was really outdated, and I think we outsourced this, so I did not prepare this. But I think a lot of this was to try to implement everything that's been talked about instead of going through the whole chapter 70, because that would be a probably months-long undertaking. So some of this is probably unfortunately left over that probably does need to be corrected. But it's not things that people were trying to add in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we got the amendment fairly shortly. I think it was today or yesterday. We got the newest amendment to it. So I'm just going to make a motion that we table this and have a more thorough discussion so we can make sure that the numbers, I don't dispute 10 or 20 or 25 or 35, but they all have to add up to where somebody understands what it is.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Second.
So we have are there any other questions? Let's put it that way. Any other questions at this point? Speak into the mic.
I mean, I get that, Joey, but the other option that we could do is, we said we're going to be pretty laxed on this. Are we setting a date, like when we put this forward, like a start date?
So for the first, to even get the garage opening, this has to pass.
Right.
Correct. Because we can't open without this being
Right.
passed.
So my
we can
question
wait.
is like, is Dennison going to start enforcing
No.
this technically right away? So
No.
the other side of that is the other option could be, instead of just tabling it and delaying garage opening, is go ahead and push it through, knowing that we're going to send this back and maybe at the next council meeting, make some amendments to the verbiage.
I mean, I'm not willing to pass this as written, I'll be honest with you.
We're not going to be enforcing fines, like, right out of the gate, right? We're just going to be submitting warnings.
So it's the same effect. If you're not going to enforce
It
fines,
doesn't,
then
it doesn't slow the garage from getting opened. I think everyone wants to see the garage opened as fast as possible.
Well, this isn't going to stop the garage from opening. How would it stop the garage from opening? Mayor?
Well, it wouldn't stop it from the resident using the garage, but the public, it will be closed to the public. And if you see a resident taking their car in that garage, you're going to fall behind them and park if there's an open space. We just created a major issue that we can't enforce because we have no ability to do that. We have no we have nobody monitoring. It'd just be another free-for-all in our downtown area. If you guys are fine with that, I mean, I can live with it, but we're just we're creating a mess. We tried to get this, wasn't this supposed to be on agenda last?
It was, yeah.
I mean, we
The
pushed
only
this
thing
thing
that we
out several
amended-
times, guys.
The only thing we
When's the
amended
garage
was,
Well,
opening?
it's been amended. This has been amended, and the,
No, I will add that part has not been amended. The amendments, it has been amended, not anything that was just discussed was part of that amendment.
the only thing that
The
was.
most recent amendment was not that. I can send the red lines around again.
And don't get me wrong, great points. I'll be the first one to admit, I have not read every line of this ordinance. I haven't had the bandwidth to do that. So you bring up some valid points, but this has been out there for a while. And this would have been nice to have, so we could have adjusted that. Now we're trying to do it on the fly, and it's sloppy. It's sloppy work on our part as a city. It's sloppy work, I think, on the council side that we're just now hearing about it. And we're in a dilemma. What do you guys want to do? We've got a parking garage that we desperately need to get open. I'm happy to say we're not going to vote on it. If that's your guys' decision, I support that.
A little bit further discussion.
But there are
too.
repercussions to it.
The option to appeal, we talked about that. That was part of the amendment. But I see it still going to the Board of Works as opposed to going to a court.
So if we could talk about this offline, I've been working with Noblesville's attorney on things that will have to happen over the next few months. There was no way to do that in a week.
Okay.
I can't get with the Noblesville court and get this in front of them in a week.
So I think it's a constitutional violation that if we impose a fee to somebody and you don't have an appellate mechanism that goes before a neutral magistrate, that's a violation of due process.
That's
just my
something I'm
opinion.
happy to work on, but again, it won't.
Same as
be
a
a few
speeding
months.
ticket, right? If you get a speeding ticket and you want to dispute it, you have the ability to do it
So
through a
again,
court.
for the first month of the garage being open, there will only be educational information going out to them about the parking.
That was my point, was can we get the verbiage correct in the next 2 weeks? If we can, I don't see any reason for tabling it. If you think it's going to take longer than that, all right, then table it.
You can still give warnings out without this being approved, can't you?
No,
A warning, just even like a slip of paper and no?
no.
Well, a motion's been made, so we have to,
I don't think we made the motion yet, did we?
oh, it's been seconded.
I did, Victor.
Motion to postpone.
all right, so could you restate your motion?
I'm just making a motion to table it till the next council meeting so we can address some of these inconsistencies in the language.
And did we have a second on that?
We did, that
We had
was
a
Mr.
second by-
McCarty. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
By Counselor McCarty.
We can have more discussion now. I mean, I'm willing to come in next week and do the same thing we did same thing we did too, if we need to.
You're looking to
If
hold a
the- if-
special meeting?
What date is it supposed to open, the garage? September 22nd?
15th.
September 15th.
So if we did table this until the next meeting, we'd only be delinquent in getting the garage open by a week and having this, right? It'd be a week. Or we could have a special meeting per your recommendation and do this before the garage opens on the 15th, assuming we could have the changes made and have the document analyzed and. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd personally prefer it to be cleaned up, and I'll come in. If we can find 4 of us to come in, a special meeting and just approve it, I'm willing to do that. That's the path I'd like to take, personally.
All right, so you're also suggesting the same as Joe and Victor at this point?
Yes, I guess.
You've got problems with the way it is. You don't like the way it is.
All right,
And if
so.
it's a motion to table, then Patrick can vote.
Okay. Let's, Marla, can we take a vote on the proposal, on the motion to postpone voting on this until the corrections are made and bring this back for the next council meeting?
That's the motion. Yep. Or before.
Or before, assuming.
Either if we're available, yeah. Next council meeting or if we're all available before.
So the motion is to table with these caveats of how quickly can we get it done, basically?
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
You ready for me to call the roll?
Yes.
Chad Huff.
No.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Patrick Tam.
Yes.
Kurt Waninger.
Yes.
John Dart.
Yes.
Joe Deppner.
Yes.
Noah Herron.
Yes.
Motion to table and come back when it's cleaned up has passed 6-1.
Please send me all your comments.
Okay, next on the agenda is ordinance 25-39, the 199th Street and Monon PUD. Presenting this evening will be Kevin? Kevin Todd.
Yeah, I'm pinch hitting for Dane Crabtree tonight. So thank you, Mr. Vice President, members of the council. For the record, Kevin Todd, Community Development Department. This item before you this evening is an adoption consideration for the 199th and Monon PUD, which did receive a unanimous favorable recommendation at the September 2nd Advisory Plan Commission meeting. Since it was initially introduced to you, the concept plan has been amended slightly, and the maximum number of dwelling units permitted has been reduced to 120. In addition, commitments regarding rental limitations have been proposed, which are similar to those that we've seen in other projects here recently on new residential developments. With that, John Dobashewitz of Nelson and Frankenberger, representing the petition, is here this evening and would like to make a brief presentation. John.
For the record, John Dobashewitz with Nelson and Frankenberger represent the petitioner, Onyx and East, and Jake Dietrich is here along with Jim Schoen, attorney with our office. I just wanted to briefly describe to you the enhancements and modifications that were made to the plan since you saw it last on June 23rd for introduction. As you can see, this is the revised plan, and detention was moved from interior to the site to be adjacent to 199th Street. In addition to that, the cluster courtyards along the Monon were refined for access and infrastructure concerns, and the additional details in the ordinance include the green space enhancements that were made internal to the site that will be available for residents within the community. We were to have a couple of additional slides. If you can pull up the ordinance, I think if we back into the back of the ordinance, we'll see that. And those slides just detail the enhancements to the common areas. If you go back to the site exhibit, yeah, we don't need to spend that. Yeah, but just the concept plan. Yeah, it'll take longer to find that. The homes at the southeast corner, one of the comments that was made was with regard to what the project looks like from 199th Street. You can see there was modifications made to the positioning of the homes through the middle of the site that added detention along 199th Street. And the homes at the southeast corner that face the pond adjacent to the Monon that says detention, those homes will be accessed off the backside and that interior drive, and the front doors will face that street. So you have within the ordinance, it's attached as an exhibit to the ordinance, what that might look like from 199th Street, which will be the front of the houses. With that, I'll conclude. Available for any questions you have before adoption consideration.
You said there's an attachment of what that's going to look like, or what that might look like?
There is. It was provided to staff. I don't see that, those slides pulled up on the agenda, though.
Do we have that?
Can you pull up the plan commission agenda from last time? Kevin's going to see if he can access it through the plan commission's agenda.
Was there some, I briefly remember there being some parking spots in the southeast corner before. Was that true, or like golf cart parking, or?
There was a plan for access at that corner, and now the plan is for parking spaces internal to the site at the far northeast corner, adjacent to the pond. But that wouldn't be for access onto onto the Monon.
That would be for access onto the
It would
Monon?
not.
That would not
The
be.
connection to the Monon is located further south in close proximity to 99th Street, 199th rather. Presentation slides, thank you.
So what's the idea of those extra parking spots by the pond on the north end? Who uses those?
They would be available to residents within the community. This is that view, if you're driving westbound on 199th Street, just crossing over the Monon, looking northwest, that would be their view. Rather than the houses backing up to 199th Street in that location. And this is the refined cluster courtyards. Again, they were redesigned for accessibility and infrastructure, water and sewer accessibility. An image that shows you looking down one of those courtyards into that space, what it would look like. And then the next three slides just detail the public spaces that'll be designed internal to the site for use by the residents. And then that first slide showed the difference between the two, the modifications along 199th Street, which include a right in, right out only here at this entrance. The area that I just showed you the illustration of, the cluster courtyards along the Monon, and then internal open spaces that'll be available as public open space for the residents in the community rather than just the ponds there internal to the site.
Questions for John?
I'll just briefly add, it was great working with the team through the process on this one. I think it started off as a beautiful project, a really unique type of product that we don't have already in Westfield, and really adding to this area, the corner of specifically Monon, with this unique courtyard product, and then the revisions that came through workshop and then approved or given a favorable recommendation at APC. I think it works really well for the area. And then I just want to give two props. One, again, to the team. Thank you for including the rental commitments, as it just mirrors, for instance, Harvest Trail amendment that we previously approved this year. And then two, the Public Works Department. Through the process, the biggest topic was the status of 199th Street and being able to allocate some funds that were already available to then enhance 199th, and it's just a complete, again, night and day difference to what it was previously. It looks really wonderful out there, so I think this will be a great addition to the area. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we need a motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2539, 199th and Monon PUD District.
Second.
Cheers.
We have a motion from Councilor McCarty to approve and a second by Councilor Herron.
I'd like to note Chad was too slow on that one.
And Chad was too slow.
Duly noted. Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Patrick Tam.
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger.
Yes.
John Dart.
Yes.
Joe Deppner.
Yes.
Noah Herron.
Yes.
Chad Huff.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. All right, moving on to some new business. Resolution 25-151, recognize the Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council for Westfield Police Department employees. Presenting tonight will be Adam. How do you pronounce your last name, Adam? It's Zoso. Okay. Adam Zoso from the Westfield Police Department Union Representatives.
Good evening, councilors. Before you is Resolution 151, recognizing the Indiana FOP Labor Council as the exclusive organized representative for the Westfield Police Department employees. We conducted a vote on 8-6, where we got the majority of the vote of our sworn members. 100% of the people that the officers that showed up voted in favor of the FOP Labor Council as our representatives, so this is what's before you tonight.
And I'll add, this is just a resolution expressing support and reiterating everything that was said here about the election. A similar resolution was passed when the fire department elected their union back in 2005. So this one's drafted a little differently, but the same intent.
So because this is a resolution, we can consider adoption this evening, even though this is the first time reading? Okay. So with that, any questions for Adam?
Not really a question, just a statement that after all the time I've spent with you, others in the audience, that I've been waiting for this to happen for a long time. So I think this is really awesome.
We've had a lot of support from the administration, the city, and police administration to get this done and get us caught up with our neighbors and
Absolutely.
with our fire department that's had it in place for some time now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kurt, did you have a question, or did I cover it there? You're good. Okay. If I have no other questions, we need a motion.
We don't need to suspend the rules, right?
No, it's just a resolution.
Make
so
a
just one
motion
read.
to approve Resolution 25-151 for the recognition of the Indiana FOP Labor Council.
Second.
Third.
We have a motion to approve by Counselor Waniger, second by Counselor McCarty. Marla?
Sorry, this one didn't make my roll call sheet. I'm just adjusting here. Kurt Wanninger.
Yes.
John Dart.
Yes.
Joe Deppner.
Yes.
Noah Herron.
Yes.
Chad Huff.
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Patrick Tam.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marla. And we have ordinance 25-53, Trillium Annexation. Presenting again will be Ryan Collingwood.
Yep, thank you, Vice President, members of the council. Again, good evening. For the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. The item before you is a 100% voluntary annexation request for the land described within the Trillium annexation. The corresponding zoning petition for the real estate, called the 199th and Monon Planning and Development District, was just approved moments ago at this September 8th council meeting. The total compiled annexation area is about 39.34 acres in size. The parcel is generally located on the north side of East 199th Street and west of the Monon Trail, seen in more detail on the location map on the screen. This item is noticed for a public hearing this evening and has been properly noticed and advertised. It is eligible for adoption at your second September meeting, where the resolution and fiscal plan will also be presented. I am available for questions. Thank you.
Tonight, we also need to hold a public hearing.
That's correct.
Okay. So before we ask of any questions from the counselors, I'd like to open up the public hearing at 8:42 p.m. It doesn't look like we have any comments from the public, so I'd like to close this public hearing at 8:42 p.m. and then open it up for any questions that the counselors may have. And as Ryan mentioned, this will be up for adoption consideration on the September 22nd meeting. All right, last item on the agenda is ordinance 25-56. Indiana, or the city of Westfield, creating a new parking meter fund, fund number 258, presented by Danielle Carey-Tolan.
Yes, before you, Danielle Carey-Tolan. We're just establishing a new parking meter fund, so when we do pass the parking ordinance, we'll have a place to put those funds into. This is just an introduction to tonight, and
It does say adoption consideration September 8th.
I think the
So-
intent was probably to pass this along with the parking ordinance.
Okay.
So I don't see a reason for it to,
Nope.
for you guys to need to suspend the rules on it.
So we
If you
would
just want to
need-
do a first read.
first reading tonight.
First reading tonight, okay. And bring it back on September 22nd for a vote, correct?
Yes, you could always, if you hold this special meeting for.
Oh, you could do it at
You
that
could
time
do
as
it
well.
at either one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good point. Any questions for Danielle? All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, that is the last official agenda item for this evening, so I'd like to open it up for city council comments. Kurt, did you want to make a comment?
Just one thing, Mayor, and I guess for the council president and vice president too, with our old business items, if you can put the developers and also people that we're paying to be here, attorneys or other bond counsel people up in the beginning or at the end at the beginning of the agenda instead of the end. Like the last petitioner, they had to wait until we had to hash through the parking ordinance and things like that on the old business first. So
when there's a hourly fee being charged, it makes sense to put them up front.
Yep.
So you want me to ask them ahead of time if they're bringing their attorneys and they're going to be on payroll for these meetings?
Most of the time they are. They always bring their attorneys. They bring,
Right.
bankers, other people.
Well, just for the record, we
I know.
discussed this when you guys, the public comments used to be at the end of the meeting. So a great example is the golf cart ordinance. We spent an hour and a half paying attorneys to sit here and listen to all the comments about golf carts. I've talked to your leadership, John and Patrick both, and I would highly recommend that if this is the route we want to go and we're that concerned about it, let's make the meeting flow in a way that we're sensitive to that. Because right now, if we get into a hotly contested topic, they're going to sit there charging $500, $600 an hour to listen to people complain about something that probably doesn't pertain to them.
Mayor, that's a great point, and I think that's the responsibility of President Tam and myself as we're going through the pre-council meeting to look at the agenda, understand who will be representing the developer, and if it's an attorney, make sure it's put in the appropriate position on the agenda.
And I agree. And at the end of the day, you guys control this agenda, not the city. So.
Is there any rule that you have to go in order on the agenda?
No, I mean, other than, I don't think you want to put new business and mix it with old business, just because, but I think, to Kurt's point, the last item of old business was the project on 199th and the Monon, and that could have been the first item of business.
What I'm saying is, I think between you and Patrick, you can kind of just look and call what you want to call.
It's exactly,
But I do
that's true.
believe that
That's true.
if you're going to look at public comments, the public needs to know, it needs to be consistent so they know when to be here and when they're going to be heard. So I wouldn't be bouncing that around based on a topic that's coming up on our radar screen. That's just my 2 cents. Again, it's your calendar or your schedule. You guys do what you want with it.
And we usually have a pretty good barometer too of what things that are going to be controversial, like the golf cart ordinance, and we can also suggest that they don't put their items on the agenda for that meeting. So.
I think you can, at the beginning, that you talk about like changes to the agenda, if something like that comes up, you could always just change it at the beginning of the meeting.
We can change it at the beginning of the meeting or be more proactive in the pre-council.
Thank
Okay?
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Victor, APC update?
Yeah, just real briefly, we have the Onyx and Eats project that we gave a favorable recommendation to, and then discussed the UDO amendment for downtown, and that'll be at a future meeting for recommendation as well. That is it.
Mayor, any comments?
No comments.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
No comments. Note that.
Well, if you want comments, we can talk. I could talk for a good hour if you want.